The new Superman movie, written and directed by James Gunn, has just been released and I got to check it out. How does this film measure up with a non-Superman fan? Let's find out. Okay, so there will be spoilers here, so if you didn't see the movie yet and you care, go check it out, then come back and watch this video. Before we dive into this review, let me just explain my level of Superman fandom. Yes, I am a comic book reader. I enjoy comic books very much. I have a huge comic book collection. I have seen the previous Superman movies. I've played some of the video games, watched some of the animated stuff. I've maybe seen one or two episodes of Smallville and never really watched the CW Arrowverse Superman stuff at all. So in all my years of being a comic book fan, I would say Superman was never in my top 10 or even 20 favorite superheroes. So I wouldn't really call myself a Superman fan at all, but I do have more knowledge than a general person about his lore and things like that. So that's my level of Superman fandom. So let's start with the story. One of my biggest gripes with the character of Superman is making his stories feel important or that the stakes really matter for him, not just the people around him. I never really feel like he's in danger or anything is just that important to his survival. Especially when his main villain, Lex Luthor, is basically Jeff Bezos at this point. And this was the first surprise I got from this film. From the opening scene and throughout the whole film, I really felt like Superman can be hurt and beaten. When Gunn opens the film, it's not to a triumphant super guy flying through a crowd and smashing a bunch of enemies. No, it's a vulnerable, superpowered man laid out half beaten in Antarctica. I was very intrigued by this and captivated right out of the gate. But a hero is only as good as his greatest villain, right? Well, Lex Luthor was actually diabolical with a little dash of charm. You almost say you wanted the guy to win. The way the story panned out was just magnificent. I mean, all of these pieces that were moving around fit in together so wonderfully. Almost every scene in this film was important in moving the plot along. There was really not a lot of wasted material here. And it wasn't just the things done by Lex or Superman. The supporting cast really brought the heat here. Jimmy Olsen, Mr. Terrific, and even Lex's girlfriend all had something to add to the plot. This was masterfully done in my opinion, and even without the intense action, the story alone was enough to keep me wanting more and watching this film all the way through to the end. A lot of people accuse Gunn of using the same Guardians formula over and over, but this really was a refreshing take not only on Gunn's directing and writing, but on the character that was used so many times in film and TV. It really felt like a refreshing Superman film. The trailer did look really good, I mean visually, but when I seen that they also threw in Guy Gardner, Hulk Girl, Mr. Terrific, Metamorpho, I thought maybe there's going to be too much going on here. But the story was pretty tight and it had high stakes. It was very entertaining, not too comedic, but also not overly broody, and it felt like Superman. So let's talk about the characters. David Cornsweet brought a level of naive optimism that I haven't seen in Superman for a while. I mean, it seemed like so many movies just decided to go so dark. This is what I thought Superman was supposed to act like in films. This is what I thought Superman was supposed to be in comics. I mean, this guy is supposed to be pretty jovial from what I thought. We could leave all the sad, brooding stuff for Batman, right? I didn't have any issues with how he played Clark Kent or Superman. Lois Lane, I didn't feel she did anything too extravagant to elevate the character in this film, but she also didn't fail and make the character seem bad or crappy in any way. I will say the scene where she got to stand out and interview Clark as Superman did come across really well. It just showed me that they could use Lois in a great way, and I'm glad they didn't go the damsel in distress route, because that's just such an easy and played out trope. Lex Luthor, portrayed by Nicholas Hoult, blew me away. I mean, this guy, I felt the pure visceral disdain for Superman so much. His facial expressions and the things that he said in his dialogue, it almost made me want to join up with Luthor Court. I really felt his pain here. You know, talking about this movie, we have to talk about The Justice Game. Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner, I mean, man, this guy just cannot miss. I will watch anything he's attached to, anything that he's in, from Firefly to The Rookie. He just brings it every single time, no matter what it is, no matter what the genre. This guy's just like a universal condiment. He's like ketchup. He is the ketchup of the acting world. Just put him anywhere, it works. He's great. His Lantern was not only heroic and hilarious, but also badass. I mean, Please give us more of this guy. Please tell me Guy Gardner has something big coming in this universe. Hulk Girl also did really well in this film. I did wish she had a little bit more scene so we could see her shine, but she never overstepped or became cringy, as it probably is easy to do as a Hulk girl of all things. It seems ridiculous, but she played a role, but she managed to keep it in line and never seemed too out of place. I do wish there was a world where we get her and the Hulk man from Black Adam together, because I loved him in that movie, and I think those two together would be a phenomenal team. Last but certainly not least, from the Justice Gang, we got Mr. Terrific. Sometimes in the supporting cast, you get people who drag the film down. Sometimes you get really good supporting characters. And sometimes you get a scene-stealing star. And that was Mr. Terrific here. James Gunn turned one of the characters I was probably least excited to see into one of my favorite characters in the movie. Kudos for Eddie Gathegi for bringing a D-lister at best to being a show stealer in a Superman film. I mean, who thought this was going to happen? I don't think anyone walked out of that film hating Mr. Terrific. I hope we see a whole lot more of him in the future. I really don't know how tied into Superman he is in Superman lore. If anybody knows about that, please drop it in the comments. But wherever he does turn up next, I will be watching. Overall, the Justice Gang was just another amazing part of a great movie. We also had Metamorpho, who I originally just didn't see how he would fit into the film that was already jam-packed with so many things. But as I said, James Gunn really put the story together. He fit him in there in a way that made sense. It never felt out of place. So many things that were done in this film, I thought just couldn't work altogether, but he did it. We can't forget about Crypto, which was a questionable addition if you ask me. I mean, a super dog flying around in a film like this, a reboot, reintroduction to a character seemed like a lot. But we know James Gunn loves his little animated critters. We got Rocket, we got Weasel. I mean, it's a James Gunn staple at this point. He managed to keep Crypto from being too ridiculous by not overplaying him, but playing him just enough that you want to see him here and there. I think James Gunn may be on his way to directing a Gremlins film. Someone should think about that. Overall, the supporting cast was done really well. I did have a small gripe with one of the characters, very small, but we'll get to that when we're talking about the things that I didn't truly enjoy about the movie. The visuals were nothing less than spectacular, with fast-paced action that you would expect from a superhero film. You really felt the power and destruction from these superpowered characters as they tore up buildings and things all across the city. Gunn managed to keep the action interesting by throwing in a gimmick where Lex Luthor calls out commands to a superpowered individual like a college football coach. Having a proxy fight Superman while using your commands seems like a very diabolical, rich, powerless Lex Luthor thing to do. It probably sounded really silly on paper, but in the context of the film, it was amazing. I also want to say I like the way they depicted Superman's flight in the film. I mean, when he took off into the sky, he kind of flew through different weather as he went over across the world. You can see like the little beads of moisture hitting his face. You know, it was a real subtle but good touch. All right, let's talk about my issues with the film. My very small issues. Number one, my issue is there wasn't more. No, seriously though. Unless I missed something about Perry knowing that Clark and Superman were the same person, I don't know. I just watched it once in the theater. Maybe I did miss it. I just feel like the times where they were leaving the office and getting in Mr. Terrific's saucer and he was picking people to come along from the news station, I just thought that someone probably should have asked about Clark. I feel like no one in the film ever really noticed Clark was missing when Superman was taken or off to fights. I don't know. It's something very nitpicky, and you didn't need it in the film because I probably wouldn't have liked to have too much Clark Kent. I mean, this is Superman. I'd like that we got a lot of Superman, but I just kind of wish they threw something in there about Clark disappearing. Also, I wasn't too fond of the Ultraman twist being a clone of Superman. It wasn't bad, but it was a little cheesy to me. It's kind of a small cop out. I know they needed it for story purposes also, but I feel like they could have worked around that and made Ultraman something or someone else. But that's just like a personal gripe. It's not a big deal at all. But I also want to speak about the engineer. Although we did get a decent amount of screen time and action from her, I just would have liked a little more backstory, or wish that they gave her a little tie to Superman of why she also wanted him dead so bad. Unless I missed it, like I said, but just, a throwaway line about something happened to a family member or something would have been great. Overall, this non-Superman fan was wowed by this film. Not perfect, but it was a pretty solid film. It also proved that superhero movies don't have to overly do origins over and over again to be really good. This was a point where we launched off, I don't know how many years into Superman's career, and I didn't really question it. With a really tight story and a great supporting cast, I want to give this film 8.8. Yes, it is almost a 9 for me. It is a really great film. It could have given us a little more here and there, but man, it's definitely worth a watch and a rewatch and a re-rewatch. So, what did you guys think of the film? To all my Superman fans, I want to see you guys drop comments and let me know what you like, what you didn't like, what didn't work, what did work for you. And everyone from the general audience in all different levels of comic book fandom, please drop a comment down below. And if you know of any great Easter eggs that was in the film, please let me know so I can catch them when I get my rewatch, which will probably be very soon. Well, that's it for me today. It's been just Dale. That is my Superman review, and I will see you guys next time.